Hello, everyone, and welcome to Eddie Van Meowen's channel, I guess. Anyway, welcome to another episode of Aaron's Book Club. I have another book review to do with you today. It's got me a little bit confused, but we'll get into that. So, the book review I have to do today is The Firebringer's Trilogy by Meredith Ann Pierce. I must say, I do love that cover. The thing I'm confused about, though, is back before I started my channel, or seriously started my channel, I annotated books that I had read with the date. So here it says, read Monday, June 19th of, I think, 06. Right? So that would say that I would have read this before in 06. If I did, I don't remember a thing about it. Like, it was not like I hadn't read it at all. So I don't know if I fibbed with myself and thought I read it, or it was just slipped my mind, which is kind of weird because the book itself, I don't think I would have forgotten about. It is that well written, and I enjoyed it that much. But yeah, it's weird. Let me read the the back of it for you so you know what we're looking into. Jan, the headstrong prince of unicorns, has often heard how evil wyverns, long ago drove his people from their ancestral home, and how the Firebringer, a unicorn who possessed the secret of fire, will one day appear to lead children of the moon back to the sacred lands. It is a story that haunts him even as he waits impatiently for the great expedition that will mark the passage into adulthood. Though his rebellious reckless spirit solely vexes his stern father, Kor, Jan is allowed to join the pilgrimage. With his childhood friend Dag and a female warrior, Tech, by his side, Jan encounters dangers he had only heard of in songs: the outcast renegades, the blue-coated goatlings of Pan, the poison-sting wyverns, and the great-winged griffins whose hunting grounds Jan's tribe had unknowingly occupied. With each encounter, he learns more truths about his people, the enemies of the wider world, and his own destiny. Despite Kor's objections, Jan and Take declare their love just before a storm sweeps Jan out to sea. Washed upon the distant shore, Jan becomes the revered prisoner of a race that teaches him secrets of fire. Can Jan escape to bring this knowledge back to his unicorns, or restore peace into the world? So it's an interesting story because most of the books that I read have a unicorn as the basic horse outline, let's say, with a horn attached. These are the actual unicorns that are born in the Vale, are actually the goat type of unicorns with the cloven hooves, the tail with just a little wisp at the end, and the bearded chin. Then the males and females get their beards. And the faraway lands that held Jan prisoner, they're the ones that keep the horses that we know of, and they don't have a horn. And it's interesting because part of the lore is one of these horses had escaped these people, fell in love with, I guess I'll say spoiler, if you haven't read this, read it, come back. But anyway, fell in love with the main king of the unicorns, drank from a sacred pool, and she became a unicorn, but the unicorns that we as Western society knows them of. And that concept is very interesting. And myself, I like the idea of a unicorn being the non-cloven type, non-cloven hoof type, horse-like unicorn. On the same premises, this author has written the unicorn based as a warrior race, which for me is a little less unusual. Most of the unicorn stories I have read now have been warrior-type unicorns that use their horns as defense and not, just a pretty animal kind of thing. It gets really preachy near the end. It talks about how there's this one true God that every species in this world prays to, no matter what. They call the one true God a different name, but every species prays to it. That gets a little bit old. We already have that problem in the real world. We don't really need to get religion into my fantasy kind of thing. But Other than that, you know what? It was a really well thought out, a really good book that kept me captivated for the most part. There were some dry parts, but for the most part, kept me captivated. And it's such a book that I think if I found this author again, I would see what else she would have to offer. But all in all, good book, good start of the year. Firebringer's Trilogy. Go out and read it if you're into unicorns. Thanks very much, guys.